another blood-red sunset and yet another moon face, and still another 100 miles to my next resting place. Driving down the road, eyes on the horizon. Within my car, I'm all alone, but feeling good and feeling strong, knowing that this path I'm on brings me to myself. I'm driving.
Hello and welcome to Spirit Sherpa, the show that helps and encourages you on your journey to unlock your magic mojo. I'm Jules, your co-host. If you're new to this work, please start with episode 1. If you're an intermediate student, go ahead and start with episode 98. And advanced students, go and fast forward to episode 200. With me, as always, to share her insights and wisdom is the spirit doctor herself, Kelle Sparta. Hey, Kelle, how's it going?
Hey, Jules, it's going good. Another beautiful day in Panama, man. I'm telling you. We've had our windows open all day. It's got a lovely breeze. It's just, it's so gorgeous here. I love it here.
Excellent. So are y'all like getting, any kind of winter, or is that just more of the wet later on, like the rainy season?
We're deep in the rainy season right now. The rainy season runs from May to October. And so we are deep in the rainy season. And so it basically what that means is that in the mornings it's clear and often sunny. And in the afternoons it rains buckets and occasionally thunderstorms. Not occasionally, more than occasionally thunderstorms. And this is my favorite time of year, actually, because the rain feels very cleansing to me, and the arroyo, they call them quebradas here. I'm used to calling them arroyos because that's what it was down on the Mexican border in California. But they're seasonal water. So, when the rainy season is there, we have these riverbeds that fill up with water, or creek beds is probably a better determiner. But in the dry season, they are dry. So the quebradas fill up. And so we have water that runs in our backyard in the rainy season, which is lovely. And so great. And I have a new friend, and I went to her house yesterday, and she lives right on the Caldera River. And that's a big river. If you guys have seen my TikToks at all, that's the river I'm filming every time. And we sat out and sat and had coffee right by the river yesterday for like 2 hours. It was glorious. It was really so good.
That's cool. Well, apparently we're having our dry season. So even my little fish pond is drying up, and, it's like, I've never seen it quite this slow, So we're hoping for rain.
It's really not raining much here comparatively to what it should, because we've got an El Nino effect too. So we're having a bit of a drought here as well, even though it's pouring rain on a regular basis. It's a drought for us. Seriously, like the water is so low that the Panama Canal is backed up, and they can't get they're like having to ration how much water they put into the canal in order to get boats through. They just had somebody pay $2.some million to be able to jump the line because they had to get through, and they've been backed up for weeks.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. So despite the amount of rain we're getting, it is still a drought here. Last year was a record rain season. We had 260 inches of rain.
Wow.
And yeah, so I think normal is like 170, 180. And I don't know what we're at for this year, but it's low. It felt like summer, felt like the dry season recently. It feels like the rain just arrived like a month ago. So it's way late. So
I understand. Well, today, maybe we can bring the topic into, the clouds, and we can bring forth the rain. So, my garden grows even more, with our intentions, our beliefs, and our assumptions. I'm going to go for the intention. I intend for it to rain, So
Yeah.
I'll have to negotiate that.
Yeah, I was going to say, you got to negotiate that with the Thunder Gods, right? You can intend that one, but you're not in charge of that one. They are in
True
charge
that.
of that one. So you got to kind of, petition them, right? So, yeah. But yeah, this has been really clear on my mind recently because I am launching my spiritual coach certification program, right? And so, I've been going through this process with that program. There's the intention, there's the belief, and then there's the assumption, right? And why are we talking about this? What does it mean? Let's talk about that first, right? Because what is the difference, right? What is there a difference? These are different layers of spell casting. Okay. And I'm going to call it spell casting today. I could call it magic. I could call it intention, energetics. I could call it, manifestation. I don't care. I'm calling it spell casting today because it just makes me happy. So we're going to call it that today. It's all the same stuff. Anyway, so these are the different layers of spell casting. Intention is the one that we're used to. We talk about this all the time when we talk about magic. How do you do magic? You intend to do magic, right? But it is layer one of spell casting. Okay. Intention is I'm setting my intention to have this result, to do this thing. So I'm going to use my coach certification program since that's what's up for me right now. And so I have been designing this program. I have been, I've hired my copywriter and I've been working on the process and writing it all out and, getting feedback on the proper naming and the whole thing, right? That's an intention setting. I'm like, I am intending to do this program and I'm taking the steps to get me there, right? So I'm in that stage. Now, we are about 2 weeks out, or a week and a half out from launching it at this point in terms of this particular launch. I've already got a couple people in the program, but this particular launch. And we're now hitting into the belief phase, right? So the belief phase is, do I believe that what I have been intending will actually work? Okay. That's the next level, right? Because we talked about this with the manifesting, right? You have to be willing to receive it. You have to be open to receive it. You have to be expecting to receive it, right? And so do I believe that it's going to work? And so that's the next phase is starting to look at this and saying, okay, so I like the copy, I like the social posts, I like the course material, I like blah, blah, blah. I have a really good sense of how to say what it is that I'm offering. And now, do I believe it will work? A lot of times our beliefs are externally, we think that they are, let me say that better. We think that they are externally based. It's like, oh, well, this copy will work and that'll work and and this, therefore it'll work.
Yeah.
Okay?
It's the right
That
font. It's the right color,
Yes. Yes. And it's sort of like we're borrowing the belief from the outside world to make the inner belief happen, right? But that doesn't work, right? You have to actually have the inner belief that it's going to work, right? You have to actually sit there and say, okay, I believe that people are going to opt into this. I believe that people are going to see the value in what I bring in the program and that they're going to see the vision of what I'm offering in the coach certification and where I'm taking that because it's so cool. Oh my God. I'm just going to geek out for a second.
Okay. Geek out.
I'm geeking out because, all right. So I have this vision for this coach certification to be ultimately to build into a spiritual university, right? So, everybody learns how to run the undergraduate course material, which is my Woo series. Welcome to the Woo, Woo Squared, Woo You, right? Everybody learns how to run the undergraduate course material. But then as people are ready to bring their own brilliance into vision, they now bring forth their courses. And the students who have finished the base level courses who are now looking for what's next are going to take the more advanced level courses, the graduate level courses, right? So we've got the undergraduate and the graduate. right? And so my coaches that are getting certified today will be the professors of tomorrow, right? We're building Hogwarts, right?
There you go. Okay.
Right?
Building Hogwarts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And we're going to do collective marketing. So, everybody will market all of their courses to each other and to each other's students. And so it'll be this collaborative business model. I'm already doing it as a collaborative business model because it's almost like I'm doing a franchise, right? It's like I'm doing all the back end stuff and all the marketing stuff and all the da, 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 right? And all they're doing is the front end stuff, right? So it's already set up as a collaborative business model to begin with. And then it will just become more collaborative over time. And I'm like, oh, yeah. And I can put people on the podcast, right? And it helped them get some credibility and introduce them to my friends at the Ethereal Network and get them some exposure that way, too. And there's like all this, every time I'm turning around, I'm like, ooh, and I could do this and I could do that. I'm so excited. It's not even funny. And I'm so excited to get people in because I want their input, right? I want them to say, oh yeah, I want to do this or I want to do that. I'm like, yes, that sounds so cool. Let's do that together, right? So it's super. I've been talking to a couple of people who are like saying they're going to come in and they're like so excited because they're at the inception point of it and that they get to have a say in how it rolls out. And I'm super excited to have them do that, right? Because
you have a new baby.
I do. I'm so excited. So, and this energy right here, right? And I'm going to be transparent with you guys. I mean, one, I'm telling you about it because I want you to know about it in case that's something you want to do. But two, I'm actually right now doing magic with you. Okay, let me explain to you how I'm doing magic with you. Right now.
Okay, wait a minute. Okay. What?
Yeah,
okay,
I'm doing magic with you right now. Are you ready? Okay.
Yes.
So what I'm doing is I'm sharing my excitement with you. And I'm allowing you to ride my excitement, all my little empaths out there, right? And you guys are going, excitement. Yay, I love excitement. I haven't had anything to be excited about in forever. Yes, let me get excited with you. And now your energy is building into my energy, which is building into the creation that I'm bringing forth. And thank you for lending the energy to that, right? Because I'm doing magic with you right now. I'm inviting you into my excitement. And if you're opting in, then you're opting into the working, right? And so I'm just like, woo, right? And so this is part of it, right? Whenever you're doing a working, you want to get the excitement going. You want to get the oomph behind it because the fear is what goes and sucks all the energy out of everything, right? We don't want that. Right. But the excitement just makes it bubble up and get excited and la, 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 yay. Right. And so it's super cool. And it amplifies what you're doing. Right. So as I'm building the excitement factor, I'm also building my belief in it happening. Right. Because I can see it and I can feel it. And now I'm sharing it with people who are also seeing it and feeling it and buying in with the excitement. I can feel the energy coming back and forth with me, right? And it's just like woof, 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 woof. And you can just like feel the whole thing spinning up. Woof, 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 right? It's just like you can feel it going, right?
I have visions of the Tasmanian devil just like and getting a little tornado cloud. And then the baby dragons like fanning the flames and like go, 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 go.
I was thinking more of like, a centrifuge that was like spinning into, fullness, but sure, we'll go with that.
We're going to go with that.
I love that. It's fine. Yeah. So, I was looking for a well-oiled machine, and Jules going wide off the rails with the Tasmanian devil.
Of course, because he gets excited. Goes, why
not?
I love Taz.
So, this is the thing, right? Though, is that you're building into the belief, right? The excitement builds the belief. The buy-in and the witnessing of others builds in the belief, right? All of these things build the belief. And the assumption comes from the belief, right? So when you believe it, so this is one of the things that I think it was Wayne Dyer who said this. It says, you have to. It's not that you have to see it to believe it; it's that you have to believe it to see it, right? And so, the belief unto itself creates the assumption. I believe that this launch is going to be amazing, and I'm going to have a bunch of people opt in, and I'm going to be able to take this thing and run with it, right? And off we'll go to the races. So I have that solid belief. And that creates the assumption that this is going to happen.
There's no way it's not, because you have the belief in your core. So that's it.
I've done all those steps.
Yeah,
right?
you've done everything.
I want to be clear.
Okay.
This isn't just a believe it. This is I've taken all the steps.
Oh, okay. So I just can't, I believe I'm going to be a millionaire, but then not do anything, not take the actual steps to make it to be a millionaire. Well, billionaire, what the hell?
Yes.
We're going to go for it.
Yeah, whatever. So you have to be following your belief with your actions, right? So belief is it's a precursor or it's not really it goes along with, right? They're correlated. Belief and commitment are correlated.
Your companions on the journey.
Right? They are. And so if you believe that something's going to happen, but you don't commit to participating in making it happening, then, then it's not likely going to go very far, right? Because your energy needs to be invested in order for your belief to bring to bear, right? In order for it to connect in, right? So when you've committed, and I've committed, this is what I'm doing. So for those of you out there who have not heard this, for those of you who are entrepreneurs in any industry, honestly, but especially in the spiritual world, this piece of advice was the one piece of advice that took me to success from being constantly in the panic pivot, blah, blah, blah. I'm over here, I'm over there. I'm waiting for the universe to tell me what to do. I don't know. I'm lacking clarity, blah, 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 right? And it is to do one offering to one target market using one platform and one lead magnet for 1 year. And if you do that, you will be successful. And so this is my one offering that I am focusing on. And I am committing for the year to make this go. Therefore, my belief is there. Because my belief is there because I've made the commitment. And I know I will make it happen. Come hell or high water, I'm going to make it happen. Okay? So the belief is not just in the outside, but it's also in me, right? I'm believing in myself. When we step into that belief, then we start to assume that things are going to work. High level, shallow level is intention. Deeper level is belief. Deepest level is assumption. Now, here's the thing, okay? At each one of these levels, there are blocks that will get in our way, okay? So the intention level usually shows up in the form of, I got distracted halfway through setting my intention and I wandered off. Or, I badly worded this intention and it came out my head sideways, right? Or, something like that. The belief level usually comes in the form of, nobody's going to buy it. It's not good enough. I'm not good enough. Nobody has any money. Everybody's distracted. Nobody has the time, all of these other limiting beliefs that you pull in. And do you guys feel the energy come down as I say those, right? The energy is really compressed down as I've said that, right? But if I go, the right people have the time, the right people have the money, the right people have the intention, the right people, I don't even remember what the other things were that I said now because I'm nope, I'm not paying attention to them, right? Whatever it was that they were. The right people are going to be excited about this. They're going to be excited about it like I am. They're going to want to come in and co-create and learn how to do things and expand their horizons and participate in community and be part of this new working on the world, right? They're going to want to do that because it's exciting, right? And, that's the thing. You've got to cancel out all of the limiting beliefs that come in, right? All of the limiting beliefs that rear their heads saying, oh, could no, right? It's like Eeyores, right? You can just look at them and go, you're an Eeyore. You need to go away now, right? It's like, and now, so that's level 2, right? But level 3 is at the assumption level. Now, this is the trickiest bitch of the crew, right? Because it is a big problem, because what do we do with assumptions? We don't pay attention to them. They are often at the unconscious level. And, so you're like walking along and, I just expect that the rug will be pulled out from under me at any moment. That's an assumption, right? And if you're not questioning all of your assumptions about life, this is what will bind you up, is the assumption level blocks. And this is where things get funky, right? Because you don't know that you expect the rug to be pulled out from under you unless you're paying attention to that. That's not something that's a conscious thought. That's just you're constantly looking over your shoulder, right? Assumptions are things that you have to watch your behavior and question it when you don't question it, right? That's the hard part. This is when you're working at assumptive level work, it is super helpful to be working with somebody else, preferably somebody who doesn't have the same assumptions you do, because it's like that. So like I was on the Holistic Entrepreneurs Facebook group this morning, and there was a woman saying, show me how you would reframe, I need help to bring my offering to the world. Show me how you would reframe that. And people were just answering the question. They were reframing it. And I was like, but do you need to reframe that? Because if you don't know anything about marketing, or you don't know anything about business, or you suck at copywriting, or, any one of the 50 things it takes to take an offering to the world, you're going to need help. I said, this does not sound like something that needs reframing. This sounds like a trauma response that is, I don't want to need anybody. Help me believe that I don't. That isn't actually valid, right? That you're gonna need help, right? If you don't know how to do all this stuff like the back of your hand, you're gonna need help. I know how to do all this stuff, and I still hired a copywriter. Why did I hire the copywriter? Because it kept me on track. Because that way he would be going, I need this from you. I need that from you. And it kept me from procrastinating. And I was like, okay, I've been procrastinating about this. I'm just going to hire somebody who's going to keep me on track, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Because accountability partner.
Exactly. Right. So, I know how to do all this stuff, and I still hired somebody to help me. Right. And so I was questioning that assumption, because nobody else questioned whether or not it needed to be reframed, because nobody else was looking at the assumption level of the question. And the assumption level of the question was, I should not have to have help to make this happen. And I'm like, that is a bad assumption. That is a poor assumption, because that's invalid, right? Unless you are an expert at everything, which is highly unlikely if you haven't put your offer out yet, then, you're going to need help. That's just the nature of the beast, right? And the idea that we don't want to have to need help, which, a trauma response, right? The reason we go into that, right, is because we needed help when we were children. We asked for it and it didn't happen. And we got disappointed, and we decided, I'm never asking anybody for anything ever again. I will do it all by myself. Right? And that's what we stuck with. And that's where you get the overly independent person, is I don't need help from anybody because I'm not going to let anybody let me down. Okay. But, it's a thing, right? And this is the other piece too, right? I'm just bringing all sorts of stuff in today. I was also having a conversation with somebody, and they were telling me that they were having challenges trusting themselves about making a decision about joining a program. And, they were like, I've made all these decisions in the past that did not turn out well. And, the material wasn't what I thought it was going to be, or the person wasn't who I thought they were going to be. And it didn't work out that way. And I said, look, I get it, because I have been there. I have spent 50 grand in the last 2.5 years, probably more than that, on coaches and consultants and whatnot, who promised the moon and the stars and delivered jack all, right? You are not alone. That does not mean that you have bad decision making. It just means that there's a lot of crappy providers out in the market right now. So that's not on you so much as it is on just the industry right now, right?
Okay, so they were thinking that their picker was off, kind of like after you get out of a bad relationship. Oh, I can't pick them. I can't pick them. She was thinking that, or she or he, whatever, was thinking that their picker was off.
Yeah. And, it's possible your picker is off. But when I'm sitting there looking at this person going, wow, this is a great alignment, and they're going, my picker is off, I'm like, I'm not sure it is, because you're here. And this is a really great alignment. So, maybe it's just that there's like 8 terrible providers for every 2 good ones. And you got to just weed through them, because I've talked to countless business owners who are like, yeah, crappy services out there. Everybody thinks they know what they're doing, and nobody does. And they don't, and they're perfectly happy to charge you, $5, $10, $15,000 to give you crap all, right? So, it is not hard to spend way too much money and get no results. I literally paid $3,500 not that long ago for a company that presented me with stuff that was so bad that I wouldn't put it out, and that thought that brand colors were just a suggestion, and that didn't have the basic understanding. They delivered a web page to me that was all about me and not all about the client. And I'm like, that's marketing 101. How do you not know this, right? You're supposed to be a marketing company. How do you not grasp that? And, I actually contested the charge on incompetency. And
Did
lost.
you really?
I lost.
You lost?
Discover said, nope. They delivered what you asked. And I'm like, no, they didn't. It took me 3 times as long to manage them in their incompetency to get me something marginally passable than it would have to just write it myself. That is not delivering a service. That is, paying for me to work, right? It's just, but there's a lot of terrible providers out there, right? And that's just the nature of the beast. And so, this is the other piece, is believing in yourself and yes, you want to look at whether or not it's you, right? Because I've done this. I've looked. I'm like, is my picker off, right? Is my picker off? And I will say that sometimes when I'm coming into it in a space of, like, I don't know if I get into this lack of clarity space, when I go to pick somebody, that's when I pick the crappy person.
Yeah. Because your emotions are coming in. So do you find it's affecting a business decision, and you're letting your emotions kind of muddle the waters,
Yeah. And so, if you're coming in it from a lack perspective, you're likely going to pull in somebody who's a crappy provider. That's the nature of the beast, right? But, that you can usually tell based on how you're feeling about it when you pull the trigger. You're like, oh, they're going to save me, right? If you're in that space, you're in victim mode, and you are going to get a crappy provider. That is the nature of it, right? But if you're in a space of, oh, I'm super excited to do this, then you're in an aligned space, right? Those are the differences. So, all of these things are things to keep in mind, right? Now, you can be in, quite frankly, a lot of spiritual coaches out there and practitioners are in a desperation space because they're just not making enough money, or they're having to work a second job in order to make ends meet, or a primary job, and this is their second job, right? So that's going to be an issue, right? But what you have to do is step out of that and be like, okay, I'm going to come into the space where the universe has my back, right? The universe is taking care of me. It is an abundant universe, and it will deliver to me what I need. And from that space of this is fine. I am okay. I am safe. I am taken care of. I am fine. How does this decision feel? Right? And if you feel like, you're handing over your power to somebody, then, that's probably not your best choice. If you're, there's a fine line here. I'm going to join, I'm going to sign on with a teacher who's going to help me. Okay. There's a certain amount of faith that you place in that person, right? You have to, in order to learn anything, you have to be open to that. But it's I'm going to respect this person. I'm going to take in the information. I'm going to be open to receive what they have to offer, but I'm not going to treat them like the parent who is saving me. That's the differential. Okay. You want to stay in adult mode when you make these choices. If you're in your child and asking to be, pampered or saved or, oh, you take care of me and I won't have to take care of myself anymore, then that's not a good place to make a decision from. Does that make sense? So we've kind of gotten off the intention, belief, and assumption piece, but it's kind of, but not.
No, I thought it all surrounds it.
It really is, right? Because in the assumptive level, if you are still in your child state looking for someone to take care of you, whether it's in a relationship or in a business deal or in a spiritual teacher scenario or anything, then you're going to end up in a situation where you aren't going to be as happy as you could be if you had stepped into your adult before making a choice. Right. And you can even make the same choice from your child or from your adult and have it turn out differently because of how you're engaging it. You could hire the same person from your child versus your adult, and you will end up with a better result hiring them from your adult than you would hiring them from your child. Because in the child, you're going to just follow what they tell you to do, and you're not going to give feedback. Whereas in the adult, they're going to tell you, do this, and you're going to say, that's not really in alignment with my people. Or, yeah, but that's not my language. We need to change the language on that. Because you're still standing in your power in your adult, whereas you've abdicated your power in your child, right? So it makes a huge difference what energy you're in when you make your decisions.
That makes sense, because I also kind of see it with the assumption too, is I'm not going to assume you're doing everything without holding you accountable, having certain key metrics that I'm measuring, or the greatest one. Well, you said A, B, C, D were deliverables. I haven't seen these deliverables, but yet you're sending me an invoice, but yet you haven't fulfilled your contract. So and the child would just say, "Oh, just pay him. It's coming. Don't worry. I don't want to make him mad." Do you see? Because I've seen that one before. I don't want to upset. Who is working for who? I don't understand this. You got the tail wagging a dog. What is wrong with you? But the same kind of thing. So is keeping your power yours, and not, you may hire said person for said job, but you're not giving your power. You're not letting them run your company.
Exactly. Right. So in the assumptive level, we have to be very careful to pay attention to the limiting assumptions that we have. People talk about limiting beliefs all the time, but the limiting assumptions are the deadly ones because you just never see them coming. The limiting beliefs will pop up and go, oh, but, fear. Oh my gosh, worry, dread, right? Limiting beliefs are very loud. They're very loud, right? Limiting assumptions are freaking quiet. They're just there, and they will just yank the rug out from under you without even thinking about it. And you will be flat on your face and going, what just happened? Because you didn't even know they were there.
Yeah,
right?
I didn't see that one coming.
Right, exactly. You're like, what? Yeah. So that's why it's so important to really go looking for them, actively looking for them when you're going through a process, something like this, right? Especially with a big launch like this. This is a whole new initiative. It's a brand new big thing, and it's going to bring up new surprises and new things that you're going, ooh. So, these are the sorts of things that you really need to go looking for, and hopefully ask for help in looking for. Because, as I said, you don't know what you don't know. And other people, it can be much easier for other people to see the assumptions that you're making than it is for you. Like it was with that woman on the internet with the, reframe this for me, right?
Reframe.
It's, yeah. I'm like, no, I don't want to reframe it for you. I'm going to question your assumption. You asked for something and I'm going to give you something else. And then I did reframe it for her in case I was off my nut. But I was like, nope, I want to question this assumption first because I want to do you a service. You've asked for a service and I want to do you a service because I don't think that giving you the reframe is the service that you need. So, but this is the sort of thing, right?
Do you also see the assumptions not being addressed even in like partnerships? So like say if you're in business with someone else and I'm just thinking of all the fraud, oh, they just stole the money and ran, and you just assumed that they were doing their part.
And that's an egregious one. That's a really, extreme one, but I see it all the time. I mean, like I had a business partner. We loved each other. We're still friends to this day, 30 years later. But the business partnership ended with him and I screaming at each other because he would make promises that he didn't deliver on. And I am a high integrity person and therefore would need to deliver on the promises that he made. And they were unreasonable promises. And so I was working my ass off trying to deliver on his bullshit promises. And he was looking at me going, what's the problem? You don't have to do it. I'm like, yes, we do. You promised it. I'm like, we do have to do it. You promised it. And, I was in my 20s, so it ended up with us screaming at each other. And I was just like, okay, we can no longer be business partners because we're about to not be friends anymore. Because I will never speak to you again because you're not acknowledging the abuse that I am taking because of this, right? Now, his thing was, you don't have to follow up on my promises. They were my promises, and they're mine to follow up on or not. But I was like, but we're a team, so people assume your promises are mine. And he's like, no. So, we had an inherent
because that would be the face of the company.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. But, it's this whole thing of assumptions. Yes, the assumptions will screw things up. Marriages have so many unspoken assumptions in them. I mean, my first marriage, I figured out after we were getting divorced, he was always upset that I wasn't cleaning the house, that I hired a housekeeper. And I was like, I'm working 100 hours a week. What more do you want from me? He's like, you throw money at problems. I'm like, yeah, because I got no time left to throw at them. Right. And what he didn't say, what I don't think he was even cognizant of until we were getting a divorce, was that his mother kept the house clean and that was part of his definition of how he felt loved. And so by outsourcing the cleaning, I was outsourcing something that I needed to be doing to make him feel loved for him as a husband, right? And so we were having completely different conversations around it. And I was going, well, of course I'm going to hire something out that makes less paid per hour than I make. Why would I not do that? Right. And he was going, but you're not loving me. You're not cleaning the house to show me you love me. But he never said that. Right. He was just, but you have to do this because it wasn't even conscious for him. It was an assumption for him. Right. So, and this stuff shows up in marriages all the time. Right. The assumptive level stuff where, nobody's ever really looked at it. And it's like, you see it all the time. People have been dating for 8 years and and they are great together. And then they get married and everything goes to hell in a handbasket. Why does that happen? Because they had all of these unspoken assumptions about what marriage meant that came into play the moment the I do's got exchanged, right?
It hadn't been an issue.
That's it, because they weren't married, right? It was all tied to the institution of marriage. And so, it's so much in the assumptive level and nobody talks about it. And it's so important, but you're not ready to do that work. I mean, I've waited 5 years to talk about this because you're not ready to do the assumptive level work until you've done most of your belief level work, right? And so, because the beliefs will get in the way of the assumptions all day long. So you really have got to do a lot of the belief level work before you really get into the assumptive level stuff. And so that's why you don't hear a lot about it.
So we're peeling back even more of the onion.
Yes. Yeah, because I do that. That's how I roll. But I can hear that the construction's going to be starting outside of my house any second now. It's going to get very loud. So I think we just need to wrap this episode up before the pounding starts.
Absolutely.
And, yeah.
So very quick Kelleism for the day.
Kelleism for the day. Check your assumptions because they will bite you in the ass.
Check your assumptions.
Check your assumptions before they bite you in the ass.
Yes, don't make an ass out of me and you. All right.
That's right. And if you want to know more about the Spiritual Coach Certification Program, we'll put the links in the show notes. So you can check that out.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we're going to scoot on out of here before construction begins. So that's all that we have time for this week, folks. Tune in next time when Kelle adds another chapter into your guide to energy, magic, and the spirit world. I'm Jules, here with Kelle Sparta, and you have been listening to Spirit Sherpa. So long, y'all.
Bye.
Driving down the road, eyes on the horizon. Within my car, I'm all alone, but feeling good and feeling strong, knowing that this path I'm on brings me to myself. I'm driving